Hey everybody and welcome. This is Bob. And tonight I'm talking to well, I should say sauce because it's echoes with sauce.
Yes, it is.
That was my poor echo.
Oh, it was.
Sorry. Yeah.
It was like from the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, sauce. How's it
Ah,
going? What are you doing?
well, I'm just, it's going pretty good. I just finished my theology homework, but I'm going to probably take a theology test pretty soon, chapter
Oh,
three.
really?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
So
Remember,
what
I'm in college.
yeah, no, I there was something I mentioned about that at one point. So what was your homework about?
It was about world views.
Your worldview or other
The
people's
world,
worldview?
other people's worldview. Like for example, Amish people.
Do you say Amish?
Amish, right? Is that how you say it, or how do
I
you
say
say it?
Amish, but I could be wrong.
Is it Amish or Amish? I don't know.
I always say Amish. So there's some Amish that are here in they're in Illinois, about central Illinois. It's called
Mm.
Arthur, Illinois, and they have a whole thing going on there.
What do they look like?
They look kind of like you, but without the mustache, and they got a beard usually if they're a little older.
Huh? Are they like
And
weird? What kind
huh?
of people are? What kind of people are they? Because like
Nice,
I had.
good people, nice people.
Oh yeah, I've heard about Amish people and stuff, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, man, that's gotta be a really fun life to live. Like you don't like work a job. Okay, you
Well,
freeload.
no, they don't freeload. They they don't. Now I have to talk to you about this because I grew up with some Amish families,
Okay,
and
please explain.
okay, so they're not freeloaders. They're typically farmers,
Okay,
and they don't take money from the government.
but how do they
So
live?
they're farmers, and typically they generally have like family money. So over the years, right? So you and I and everybody else, spend money on cars and phones and cable television and streaming services. They don't got any of that. They got horses, they got buggies, and a lot of times the buggies at least, are handed down generationally. So their buggy may be from turn of the century or something, and they have horses and cows and whatever, and they farm and they get money from growing things, and then they you know they save it because they don't spend any money. But yeah, some
How did they
I
go? You
go
have me
ahead.
fascinated. You have me fascinated with these people.
Oh
Like,
no, I can tell you. So I
how
grew
do you
up with
talk
a
to them?
family called the Klebzigs.
Okay.
Klepzigs. That was their name. Klepzig. Klebzig. And they were actually quite wealthy because they lived a very frugal life, and they were actually builders.
Okay.
And they would build. Now they were kind of fringy because there's always a variant, right? So it's not like there's some people who are more into it and some people who are less into it, right?
Hmm.
And so I think they were probably more Mennonite than Amish per se,
And what's
but
the difference
Mennonites and
between that?
Amish look very similar. What's that?
So, because I see like TLC has TV shows about Amish
Oh
people, and
yeah, yeah.
they're like on. I'm like, wow, they're just like us.
Oh yeah, they're just regular folks. It's just
Yeah, with cell
they hold
phones
themselves to
and
different standards. So
yeah, but the people on TLC though, they
well,
have.
they're not they're not hardcore people. So the really people who like follow it don't use any electricity, and they don't use cars or anything. It's all manual labor, right?
Hmm.
And then you have the very people who say, well, yes, sometimes we use things like these guys are contractors, and they would build these beautiful houses and sell them and make a lot of money, right? Because they were all like, part of it was more modern, but then part of it was very handcrafted, right? So there was a lot of touches in there, and they'd get really good money for their houses, and they lived in nice houses, and they had electricity and so forth. But then they used it in a different way. So, like, do you know about, like, if you're Jewish, right? You have
you wear a nightcap.
Well, you go through Sabbath, and you can't use you can't turn on a light switch, right, on the Sabbath. Yeah. So it's kind of like that, right? So then they have their rules, and they follow the rules to their, to the extent that they want to, I suppose. And then, they make money. But every person that I've ever met that's Amish is a very hardworking person who, doesn't really want anything from you. They're not taking charity or anything.
Do you think that'd be great being Amish or Amish? How do you say that?
Not for me.
Why not?
No, I love technology, obviously. So
do you think I would be a good candidate or no?
Well, you might be, because they're very pious people, right? So they're very religious in the sense that they, follow a lot of the Christian ethic. And maybe even a little more than your regular Christian, because they shun some things that, regular folks don't shun. And so maybe the hard part is just getting around the technology aspect. So Mennonites can do certain technologies where Amish, depending on how hardcore you are into it, can not do anything, right? So
yeah,
I don't think... Personally, I'm not a handsaw kind of person, so I'm not going to sit around. If I can get it done quicker and use a power tool, I probably would do that rather than sawing on something forever. But
yeah,
that's the part that's the hard part, right? For now, because we're all so used to cars and technology, and some of those folks don't. But like I said, it's all different. Everybody's got their. It's like Christmas, Easter Catholics. You've heard of that, right? So.
Oh yeah, they go only on Christmas and
right.
Easter. Yeah, yeah, like my ex-girlfriends.
Same kind of thing. The Amish, and some of them are like, yeah, we can, But I would say typically all of them, it's yearning for a more simpler lifestyle, a simpler time. So
yeah. Well, because I had to write a worldview about that, and I'm like,
well, you probably ought to read something, not just listen to me. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I already submitted the work and stuff, and
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't watch TLC and get your information from that. I'll tell you that.
No, what do you think? That's factual or no?
No, I think that's anything you watch on television is for the benefit of television. There's not a lot of honesty in anything that's done on television.
Yeah.
Have you yourself ever been, I just saw something you posted about you and some type of a political person, right? And you were in the picture. Was that your picture, or was that the picture from a newspaper or online magazine or anything?
I'm in a lot of stuff, so I have
okay. Yeah. Well, if you've ever been like part of a news story, right? Even if it's like something to have, like let's just say, for example, let's just say you got more toys for the toy drive at Christmas than anybody, and they came by and they're like, "Sauce, we're going to do a news story on you," right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they come in with an idea of what they want. And they'll be like, okay, Sauce, we're going to interview you. And they'll ask you a bunch of questions. And obviously not all those questions make it into the final product. They only take the answers that they like. And then they'll go, Sauce, let's have you walk and set down these toys in the toy drive. And they'll, okay. And then you walk back and forth like an idiot carrying toys in this fake, phony toy drive that's already happened just for their benefit. And, you do it like 2 or 3 times till they get what they want. And then they go and edit it all together and it becomes a story, right?
Yeah.
And none of it was happening. They didn't document anything that happened. they created the document to fulfill the story that they came in to get.
Huh.
So it's all fake. I mean, the news is all fake. Everything's fake. And so any kind of reality show, if you look at the credits, they have a story producer because somebody's in the background saying, here's what we want to have happen.
Uh-huh.
And then, I don't know if you read the behind the scenes, and then sometimes the producers get involved and they basically get people on the cast for the real reality shows. They get the people on the cast all riled up and then get them fighting. They'll be like, hey, did you know Tommy said you know Sauce said Amish don't work. They're lazy. And then they get all, hey, we're not lazy, anyway.
How do you talk to those people though? Like, do you
just go talk to them? They're just people.
Oh,
I went to school with them. I mean, they were
not smart, I'm guessing, right?
They were what?
They were not smart.
Oh yes, they're very smart. Why would you think they weren't smart? Just because they shunned some modern conveniences or something?
Well, because
and I was older, so they weren't in my grade. But yeah, one of the Klebsick kids would go to school, and he didn't dress funny or anything. He dressed normal and everything, but they kind of kept to their own. And the weird thing for us, as kids, was that all the families, which there was a lot of relatives that lived close together, were regular folks would go to church at the church.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they would just go to each other's houses because they were, it was kind of insular, right? They were all kind of together.
Did you go to any of them?
No. But it wasn't like a church. They don't want you there. You're not part of their thing. They have their people and they go do their thing.
How do you make friends with them if they don't want you?
Oh no, they're friendly people. It's just like you. Like, so, let's say Sas, you and I went to school together, right? And I can tell you, huh?
Okay, if you and I went to school together, that'd be literally a
time travel
TV show, huh?
Yeah. It'd be time travel. Back to the Future. So when I was young, like if you were in the same time period as me, let's bring you to my time period, right?
Okay, the Stone Ages.
And so, the Stone Ages. I was a super long haired, kind of heavy metalish kind of kid, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily looked upon as the best person in society at the time.
Okay.
Right? And if you were yourself, a clean-cut guy that you are, right? And here I am, anti-establishment, long hair guy. There you go, right? We get along. We go through it all, but so then that's what, that's what the deal would be. You'd just still be different, but you're kind of all thrown in together, so.
Huh, that's fascinating. Yeah, so the interesting part is so we have not done a show in, I think, a full year now.
Has it?
I think it has. I don't know, because last time...
I was on with you on your date. That wasn't that long ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't been on your show since...
Oh, yeah. No, probably not a year. Yeah.
Oh, has it been a year or no?
No, I could look it up if you really want to know.
No, but either way, was I still in college at my old Christian college when I was...
I think that you were not. I think that...
I was kicked out.
You were kicked out by that point.
Yeah. Were you surprised I got kicked out of a Christian college?
Sorry, you got kicked out of the Christian college.
Yeah. Were you surprised about that when I told you that?
No. I mean, hey, everybody has their things, Everybody only does so much. So, no, we talked in October. So our thing was in October. So there you go.
Are you wow, that seems forever.
Yeah, but it's not been a year. October's not been a year yet.
So a lot has changed, by the way. I'm still single.
Did you grow your hair out?
I'm growing my hair. I'm growing my beard out. I had a haircut.
Oh, okay.
So I'm starting to grow my beard out again. And I'm trying to see because I'm on this dating site now. It's called Upwork.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. That's the Christian dating thing.
Yeah, I had to redo all my profile pictures. You
Why?
know, well, because what happened is I don't want. Um, I don't know if many of your listeners know, but I went on a date with a doctor, and she did gonorrhea. She's finding a vaccine for gonorrhea.
Right. Yeah. She's in gonorrhea study. Maybe you look like a good candidate.
Well, I don't have gonorrhea though.
Not yet.
So I had to redo my whole dating thing, and I definitely can tell you, I've been matchless, and I took a bunch of people's dogs off the internet, and I just cropped myself inside. No, I didn't crop myself. I just went and took pictures with other people's dogs and see, because I know I hear girls love dogs,
Yeah, that's true.
and so I'm like, okay, I could be a dog person, and then
Well, are you a dog person though? Let's be honest.
I do love dogs. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Do you like dogs?
Oh yeah, come on. I'm an
What
animal
kind?
person.
What kind? What do you mean by animal person? You
I
have
love all
cats?
the animals. I'm very much.
Do you have any pets, or is your wife? Does your wife even
Oh yeah,
already have
we
a pet?
have cats.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you're a cat person.
No, all animals. I had cats. I've had dogs. I mean, I don't have like we had hamsters.
You have cows,
No, no cows. No cows.
ostrich.
No, but no, but I have. I haven't owned an ostrich, but I know people who do or
Oh
have.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
speaking of it, okay, what are your thoughts on this lawsuit that's going on in Boston, where this guy tried to bring a pet alligator as a service animal into the Boston Red Sox game?
I think that's. I think that's bad for the alligator, first of all, and probably bad for people. So I don't think that you should do that. I mean, I think a lot of these, I think a lot of folks take advantage of the service animal thing because they
Oh,
really don't need them. They,
100%.
yeah, and they're really doing a disservice to the animals because if it's not trained as a service animal, right? Then I mean, they're just scared. I mean, there's all these people and all this noise, and I mean, what do you
How
want
do
them
you
to
train a
do?
pig?
Huh? You can
How do
have
you
those.
like? Huh?
They have those potbelly pigs they train.
Well, because you see like even like they have donkeys and ponies, like miniature ponies that they
Hmm.
walk around with,
Hmm.
and I'm like, how? I'm like, like, I'm sorry to say, but I understand dogs. That dogs is a different species. I understand if you need a dog.
Well, I think the problem is not the type of animal as much as it is the training. They actually need to be doing something in relation to the person other than just being their buddy.
So like an alligator, how does an alligator?
I can see where you might like alligators and then at home you may have them as your pet, but they don't belong with other people
Well, what my question is,
because
why?
they're wild animals and they'll just bite somebody if they get freaked out. Whereas we have domestic alligators aren't domesticated, right? So you have domesticated animals. That's why we have the word domesticated, is because they're assimilated to be with people, right? So, cats, dogs, even pigs and cows and goats, because they're not going to necessarily, unless they're provoked, lash out randomly too
Mhm.
much. You know what I mean? In general, whereas then you get into monkeys and foxes or these non-domesticated things, and they just will act erratically because they're not used to being around people, right?
Yeah.
So
What's the wildest service animal you have seen?
I've just seen cats and dogs out when I've been out and stuff. I haven't seen it. Now, there are people who do have monkeys as service animals,
Uh huh.
but no, I have never seen one in public myself. And again, I think that they go through a fairly extensive training program in order to do that because, again, monkeys can just, kind of fly off the handle. So,
Yeah, mine. You know what mine is? I saw a snake.
Oh, really? Well, I guess I've seen like rats.
Yeah. Why? What are you going to use a rat for?
Nothing.
Besides,
It's companionship. I think that's the difference. Is it's not a service animal because it's not doing anything for you. Like if you ever see um, a service animal that's a trained dog, they can pull you in your wheelchair. They
hmm
can get your medicine from someplace in your house or on your person and give it to you, right, or in your belongings. They actually perform,
CPR.
some well no, but somewhat simple but necessary functions. So if you are prone to seizures, then the dog can be trained to know when you're having a seizure and know how to get your medication and get it to you.
Well, they can't like feed it to you though, right?
No, but a lot of times they can sense when the seizure's going to start coming on because they are more sensitive to certain things than people are. So, like, I think they can sense your movement becoming erratic more than if you and I were sitting there with them. We probably wouldn't even notice it, and then they would
Uh-huh.
act on that. So, yeah, they do have special skills in that sense, and then sometimes it's even like smell. They can smell changes uh, in your body that trigger them to do something. So yeah.
You know what I've been fascinated with is I don't know if you ever owned a husky, but I absolutely love huskies.
Oh yeah. My brother had a husky for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, they are the cutest, and they are the most friendliest around. Um, Pit bulls are not so friendly.
I've had a pit bull mix and he was very nice.
Do you have pets now or no?
I do, but not dogs right now.
What cats?
Yeah, cats.
Man, how many cats?
We probably got 3 cats, I think.
Holy cow! You know the funny part is I'm allergic to cats.
Wow.
Yeah,
So am I sometimes. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
and
I am. If it gets stuff gets in my eye, then it's just I have to go wash my eyes out and stuff. So
you know what? No wonder why we didn't work out with that discussion with that person. No wonder why we didn't work out because she smelled like cat, and I'm like, no wonder why.
I mean, if the dander gets on in your eyes and stuff, it can really be a nuisance. So,
Is that why do you think we didn't work out? Because she was a cat person?
no, I think I think there was more to it than that.
Well, because I went back to the drawing board. Okay.
hmm
Now I'm thinking, okay, what could I? I'm like, I was a gentleman. She got tap water. Okay, so there was nothing wrong.
Yeah, if you want to do the quick rundown of the date, you got tap water and an appetizer. That was it.
I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it? Like,
No, not for a date. Come on.
what's your rendition of a date?
Well, if you were going to go to dinner, you'd have the whole dinner, which would be, drink, appetizer, entree, and dessert.
Is that what you do? So when you went on a date with your wife the first
Uh,
time, is
yeah.
that what you did? What
No.
was your first date like, by the way? You were like, hey Brenda, you want to go on a date?
Hey, Brenda.
Is that your
Um,
wife's name or Lorinda?
no, no. Yeah, basically, I asked her out, and we went on a picnic.
What's the with? Oh, you took an Amish buggy.
Yeah, we took the Amish. I borrowed the Klebsig's car, and they let me take my wife on a date to the park.
Like, what do you mean by car?
I'm joking. I didn't borrow the neighbor's car. No,
Oh,
we went on a picnic. So I went and got
your mom made it
sandwiches.
for you?
No, I bought it, and some chips and some drinks, and we went out and went to the park and had a picnic.
So what do you do at a picnic? You're like, hey,
We
like,
talk and you just look around at nature and talk about whatever you feel like talking about. And
yeah, but there's so like, but where's the tap water?
no tap water. We had probably had soda or
Or
had
Moscow
a
Mule?
Coke. Hmm?
You had a Moscow Mule, or
No Moscow Mule. No, I didn't. I didn't bring alcohol on that date. Maybe later.
Well, how long? So my question, yeah. So how long have you been married, if I may ask? Like, is it longer
Oh,
than I've been alive?
yes.
No, are you serious?
Oh yeah. Well, you're not 30 yet, are you?
Oh, I'm not even close to being
Yeah.
30.
See, way longer. You certainly, you could easily be my kid, but
Do you have kids or no?
oh yeah, I got kids.
How many kids? 8?
I got two kids.
Two? You don't
Yeah,
two, a boy and a girl?
a boy and yeah, one of each, as they say.
Are you a
Although
grandpa?
these days I couldn't say one of each, right? So
Well, I don't. Well, I say one
no,
of
I'm not
each.
a grandpa. Thank you very much, Sauce.
Not yet.
No, not yet. I mean, maybe eventually, but no, not yet.
Are they still in school or? Yeah. So
No. They're my daughter's graduated. Well, she may be going back to college, but she's graduated from bachelor's degree, and my son's just about done. So
okay. So at least, am I older than your kids?
maybe by not by much.
Because I'm 25. I just
Yeah,
turned
you're
25.
you're barely older than my kids.
Okay. Does that make me feel good, or does that make you feel good, or no?
No, I don't. Actually, it's immaterial to me. You're not my kid, so I'm not responsible for you. Thank God. And so no, it doesn't. I mean, certainly, time has passed, but it's not like I'm dying or anything. Come on.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. I think you'd be a great dad. Like,
Well, I like to think so. I mean, my kids probably would say, "Yeah, he's all right."
yeah, because you come off of like, okay. So how did you? Okay, because did you have dating sites back in the day, or no?
No, we didn't have the internet, Sauce. I'm pre-internet person.
Okay, so how did you meet her? Like, not like how did,
Just we were people between people. I can't remember.
college?
No. Well, no. We met. Well, we were both in college at the time, but not. We did not meet because of college.
Oh, okay.
We met because of association, friends. I think it was friends of friends, and happened to be in the same space at the same time.
And you're like, that's gonna be my wife. That's gonna be, and I bet
No,
like tap water.
no, I did not. We ended up dating, and I'm a pretty easygoing person, I guess. And we just hit it off, and it's just worked out. I mean, I'm not. I'm not. How can I? Well, I just say it. I think you have a little more expectations than I have for things in this area.
Well, how long? Because okay, so here's how I think of dating. Okay,
Yeah.
and clearly it has not worked out because my questions I ask is, I ask if they have Sky Miles, and I ask them like if
Mm-hmm.
they or Hilton Honors number, or like I
Mm-hmm.
ask if they have an IGH number, and then I ask how many times they travel a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then typically I've said this before. Have you gone outside the state? And if they say no, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I've done this before. I just said, "Excuse me, I have to use the restroom," and then find the back door and leave.
Oh my gosh, you dump. That's terrible, Sas. You need to be a stand-up guy and just suffer through the night and then just say, you know what, it's just not working.
Well, have you done that before or no?
No, I've never skipped out on anybody.
Oh, because how many? Well, oh, that's what you only dated one person. That's why. See, I wish I was
No,
like
no,
you.
that's not true.
No.
I dated several young ladies, and yeah, some of them worked out better than others, and some of them I dated once, and I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen. So,
So, and another thing is, oh yeah, and then after I talked to them and stuff, I asked them a whole bunch of questions, and literally this gonorrhea girl, we're gonna call her, I asked
G girl.
G girl, yeah, I asked her, I'm like, so I have a question, and she's like, okay, go ahead. So, okay, let me give your listeners a quick crash course. So
Okay.
she picked me up because I was not going to drive through Atlanta because I don't like city driving, and it's also a waste of gas. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Okay.
So she's like, "Are we gonna?" She's like, "Can I?" She's like, "So who's gonna pick each other up?" I'm like, Can you take the subway system?
Hmm.
It's called Big Old Marta. I call it Big
Right.
Marta, but
Yeah.
it's yeah. She's like, "Well, I'm afraid of Marta," and I'm like, "Okay, can you pick me up?" She's like, "Well, where do you want me to pick you up?" And I'm like, "See, that's where okay." I feel like that's where it started going downhill. Was the fact that she picked me up.
I think well, I don't know. It depends on. I mean, the modern times it doesn't matter so much. Actually, it hasn't mattered so much in a long time. But typically, the guy usually, you know,
Says the
drives.
person that had his wife pick you up. So,
Oh yeah, my wife would drive me around constantly. She had a much better car than I did when we were dating. So
yeah. See, you and I are in the same boat when it comes to this.
well, but I think here's the difference. You're you want her to drive, but you want to control. And I'm just like, well, if you're driving, I guess you tell us where we're going.
Well, so
You can't have both, right? You can't have her drive and then you be the dominant, person at that point.
yeah.
You're not in
So,
control.
so here's what happened. Okay,
Hmm.
I. She's like, well, where do you want to go? And I'm like, oh boy, that's a good question. So I'm like,
Hmm.
can we go to a steakhouse,
Hmm.
like to the Texas Steakhouse and all that?
Oh
See,
yeah,
I like Texas Steakhouse or Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. I think that's what another problem was that she didn't like the Texas Steakhouse.
Oh
Okay.
well, see, but there's also okay. So have you heard the saying that opposites attract?
Okay, I'm sorry. We're not even close. Like
Because
it
here's
didn't
the
work out.
deal. Here's the deal, Sauce, right? You like to travel, you like to do these things, right? So what happens is depending on the person, right? Especially when you're young, you don't know what you want to do. You may not have resources. You have more resources maybe than other people your age. And so you may find somebody who hasn't traveled but would like to travel. So the question is not, have you been out of the state? The question is, where would you like to go?
Hmm.
And then if they say, I don't want to go anywhere, and then you're like, okay, not for me. Or they
Yeah.
say, I would love to go to Yellowstone National Park, but I just don't have the funds to do that yet.
Hmm.
Then, okay, now you have a person who wants to go somewhere, right?
Yep.
They just haven't had the opportunity yet. And so then you can become the opportunity. And so then that's where the fun happens, right? So then you are like, okay, great. I would like to go there, or let's go on some shorter trip for the day.
Hmm.
And then you go through and you see how it goes and you test it all out. So it's all a matter of testing it out just because you don't have to like the same things as each other. You
Hmm.
just have to be able to get along.
Yeah. So
That's more important than any of the rest of it. So you test these things to see if you can get along. Because I can tell you one of the more stressful things that you could do early in a relationship is take a trip.
oh, she wasn't happy to go to Athens.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's stressful. But if you can
It's-
survive that and you can get along, then that's a good sign.
well, I feel like she was thinking I was freeloading off of a ride because I never been to Athens.
Well, were you?
Well, I mean, she lives in Georgia, okay, and I don't live in
Right.
Georgia, okay, and
Right.
I'm there to sightsee, okay,
Sure. Well,
and
but the thing to do would have been to say, to ask her to sightsee and let her take you to places that she liked, not to take you to the place that you want to go. It's all give and take, Sauce. It's all give and take. I
so
think you were taking a little too much.
I was.
Yeah, you weren't giving quite enough. The tap water and the appetizer was not enough given.
Okay, so all
Have
right,
you had another date since then?
actually, no. Um,
Okay.
I,
You don't
I
tell
would.
people to listen to that show about you taking that woman for a ride to Athens, do you? Or vice versa, I mean.
So yeah, I have not had a date, and I've tried to talk to some people, but then I apparently have you ever heard of ghosting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That happened
Yeah,
a long time ago.
yeah, I've been ghosted by one girl.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Couple
she.
of instances upon
Well,
that,
if she's looking at your social media, I can see why she might ghost you.
and
You
no,
go, oh
so
wait, he talked about his last date and called her gonorrhea girl.
wait, you came up with that, not me.
Well, true, but you went you went along with it.
True. So, so what happened is, so apparently I've been ghosted a couple times,
Yeah,
and so
not
no, okay,
uncommon these days, I don't think.
well, okay, it's way too much for me though. This is like the fifth person that's been ghosted me since like that failed date, um, and
Well,
that's pretty
don't.
bad.
Yeah, see, that's yeah. You're gonna have to. I don't know.
What do you think went wrong in that date? I want your honest opinion. So, like you,
I think I told you. I think number one, you don't dictate if you're not driving, and don't be such a cheapskate on the dinner. And I mean, I realize you guys picked a really expensive place, but you should have steered to some. You don't have to
McDonald's,
go. Yeah, exactly. I love McDonald's. Actually, I had McDonald's for lunch today, but you
two McChickens, and large fry with a large Dr Pepper.
no, you would
No.
never guess my order. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, let me guess. It's a Big Mac. No, not a Big Mac. Is it a quarter pounder with grilled onions and large fry with no salt?
Nope.
No. What do you normally get? They don't have salads.
I get a double hamburger, and then I usually just share some fries off my wife.
Oh, okay. What's a double hamburger? Two hamburger patties?
Two hamburger patties. Yep.
Isn't that a McDouble?
I don't like cheese, so I don't get the cheese.
Oh, okay. So okay. So what happened? So I should have gotten a McDonald's, shouldn't I?
Well, no, you don't. You could have. I mean, I'm just saying you should have. I mean, you don't have to. Let me think. Say it this way. Okay, if you're not an expensive restaurant guy on your own, don't be an expensive restaurant guy on the date.
Okay.
You need to. You have to be as true to yourself as you can be, but you know, but still be giving a little bit. You don't have to be totally cheap, but if you're cheap, you're cheap. They need to know that.
So, all right, let's get, okay. That'd be funny if I took her to McDonald's, but your budget is $5. Get something that pretty.
Well, no, you can't set a budget. You can pick the place, but you can't like say, oh, you only got five. Now, I mean, if you really are poor, you can say, I got a 20. Let's see what we can do.
Mhm.
I mean, just be honest. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being honest, because what's going to happen is they're eventually going to know. You're not anything you think you're keeping secret is going to be revealed eventually. So there's no point to it. Right?
Don't worry, I'm very extra, and I'm a high maintenance person. Says my other ex.
Well, then they need to know that. See,
Well, so did I tell you about my other relationship about like this past one before I met gonorrhea girl?
What was her name?
Brenda.
Oh, is that what you said, Brenda, before?
Yeah. So
that tells me you still like Brenda,
well, okay.
because
so
you would not use her name if you didn't like her.
Well, Brenda was a Democrat.
That's okay. Again, opposites. You don't have to agree on everything. You don't have to like everything each other does. You just have to get along.
So what happened is,
who was that guy? In Clinton. Oh, you were too young, but the guy from the Clinton era. His wife was a Democrat and he was a Republican.
Monica Lewinsky?
Vice versa. Not Monica Lewinsky. Oh, he's a bald guy. He's from Arkansas. But anyway.
Oh, Arkansas?
Yeah. But everything doesn't have to be, I mean, it's better if they're not a mirror image of you. It's better.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the only way you're going to grow is if you keep getting introduced to things that you're not going to be introduced to by yourself.
Mm-hmm. So let me tell you about this girl named Brenda. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we met. And by the way, I deleted the account on Tinder because I was absolutely embarrassed. Because I was afraid that she was gonna like tell other people.
That means that was your there's guilt in that.
Yeah, and so so what happened was, okay. So this girl, okay, her name was Brenda. Okay, so
Mhm.
it was last year. Okay, December.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So we matched and we liked each other. So I'm like, hey, how's it going? She said, good. And she's like, how would you want to go out to how would you want to go out to like a ball game or like a basketball game? And I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm like, well, I do. This was when I was traveling a lot, and I'm like, well, I do travel a lot. I just want to tell you that. And she's like, well, that'd be fun. Let's do something. Let's go to the ball game. And instead, we didn't go to the ball game. We went out to dinner, and then we went. Oh, no, we did go to the Milwaukee Bucks game. That's right.
Hmm.
We went out there, and so the whole entire time, I told her, I'm like, I started speaking like, I'm like, okay, because when I love sports, okay,
Hmm.
and so she likes sports, and so then I like she kept talking in my ear, and I turned over, I'm like, for the love of God, can you stop talking? I'm watching the game.
You said that to her?
Yeah, she wouldn't shut up.
Oh my
So
god.
so she's like, excuse me, and I'm like, okay, Brenda, don't calm the attitude, okay? And then
I hate to tell you this, but some people sauce are just meant to be alone.
and Brenda is one of them.
No, I was referring to you.
Oh, so so apparently it didn't work. Like apparently
Yeah,
this
that
time
probably
went.
didn't work out. I mean, she was trying to engage you, I'm guessing, even though. So, all right, Sauce, let me tell you this. People go to places not because they necessarily want to go to places, but because it gives them, it eases you into a socialization. That's why
Okay.
people go to bars. That's why people go to games. That's why people go, shopping. That's why people go whatever. It's because it's all a cover so that way if you can't socialize, there's something else to do,
Hmm.
right?
Has
And
your
so
wife
then
ever
and then
socialized before or
also
no?
what's that?
Have you guys ever gone to something else or no? Like
Oh
ever
yeah.
like
Oh, we used to go to stuff all the time.
how does she act? Like Brenda or like
Oh
me?
no, she's not chatting me all the time. No,
No, how does
it's
that
probably
work
the
though?
other way
Like,
around.
oh, so you're talking to her. What's the favorite place you guys gone together?
um well, I mean, if I think when we were younger, we used to go. Well, I mean, I grew up in the time of malls, so we would go to the mall. So we'd go to the mall or whatever and walk around the mall. But no, we used to go, go to the movies. I loved to go to the movies, and so did she. So we went to movies and go to dinner, go hang out with friends. I'd go play trivia at
Hopscotch?
my friend's house. Yeah, hopscotch. Sure. I'll do
So
basically at the time. I would do. I mean, whatever. It was. I was pretty open book back then. I'd just be like,
mhm.
yeah, let's go. Let's go. Let's go see something.
So
I
you're
love
the
to. I love to go to museums now. I mean, I'm old, so I like to go to museums and I like to go to places that I've never been. Go up to Chicago and go to the Bean just to see
mhm.
it. You know, it's not
So
that thrilling to be honest with you, but
the bean
yeah, the Bean,
is,
whatever.
yeah, it's a lot smaller than people think it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and now that but smells like urine.
Well, it depends on the time of year when you're there, I think.
Yeah, and no. So what happened is, okay. So we went to so after the game, okay, and I'm
Hmm.
like, hey, can we grab? And I'm like, okay, I would like to apologize, Brenda, for the attitude, but you get. I'm like, you know what? And this was like the beginning, so it lasted for a whole month. So luckily, this was the beginning of the month. Okay.
Yeah, you set it up real nice.
Yeah.
Brenda, can you shut up? I'm watching the Bucks.
Yeah. So I'm like, after the game, I'm like, okay, I would like to apologize for how I acted. But I'm like, I'm sure you've gotten in that. Like when you watch a TV show, when you watch your soap operas, I'm sure you get right involved with Pretty Little Liars. That was her favorite show.
Yeah, I never watched
Okay.
that show.
Huh?
I never watched Pretty Little Liars. I can tell
I
you that.
didn't. They don't. It doesn't even air anymore. I never
Oh,
watched it.
okay.
That's out of my time. Well, it's not out of my time, but
ABC
um,
Family.
yeah, it used to be a thing. Now it's called
Yeah.
Freeform. Yeah.
Freeform. Yeah.
And so, and I'm like, I like to apologize. And so I'm like, hey, let me get you dinner and stuff. And I'm like, okay. She's like, oh, that sounds good. So we went to Culver's.
Oh yeah. Love the
And
Culvers.
yeah, and so what happened is, okay, so she's thin. So she was like, she's skinny. Okay.
Hmm.
Not kind of fat shame and stuff. But
Right.
I'm like, are you like she ordered, okay, a large Oreo concrete,
Hmm.
a large cheese curd, a
Hmm.
chicken sandwich, and
Hmm.
a large unsweet tea. Okay.
Sounds good.
And I'm like, holy cow! I'm like, I didn't expect to have Christmas dinner already.
You're being cheap.
Yeah.
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
and and I'm like, excuse me, I didn't expect you to like go like order like Christmas dinner. And I'm like, you're gonna eat all that? And she's like, yeah, of course I am. She's like, I have a great metabolism. And I'm like, well, I'm like, I don't want to be with you for like, well, you better slow down on the metabolism because you might get heavier like 10 years down the road.
You're
So,
worried about things that are unimportant.
so I'm like, am I going to see you on The Biggest Loser?
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
funny.
And
I
so,
think I think you're a little uptight, Sauce.
what's that mean?
It means that you're overly concerned about things that you don't need to be concerned about.
Yeah. Well, and so then what happened is during the whole entire, then she was embarrassed and she's like, okay, I'm not going to eat. She's like, well, okay, then I'm not going to eat it. So then we had, and then the funny part is I asked for a refund because she didn't eat it all, and the Culvers actually gave me a refund.
I can't believe. You ever see those coupon clipping shows? There you go.
Oh yeah,
You're on there.
the coupon people.
Yeah, you're couponer, and boy, oh boy.
So
See, but
so
you got to
then
find somebody who's okay with that.
what's
Is
that?
what you got to do.
Well, then she called me out, and she's like, "Well, it says a person is going to apply first class next week." It says that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, excuse me, Miss Fanny Pants, and I called her Fanny
Mm,
Pants. Apparently, you can't call people that anymore.
yeah. I don't
And
even know
so,
what that means.
oh, Miss Fanny Pants.
Yeah.
Oh, I just made that word up.
Oh, okay. Did
I
you know?
called her that.
You know what fanny is in Britain? But
No,
anyway,
what is it?
well, it's not your butt. It's our vagina.
Good thing we're not in Britain, huh?
Uh huh.
So what happened is, so long story short, it was a rough month. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, then
We
why did you stick it out? You stuck that out, and you couldn't even stick out one date with gonorrhea chick.
well, and then we tried to go on another date, and so we tried, and what happened is we broke up just in the mid, like right before Christmas. So at least I didn't have to give her a
Wait a
Christmas
minute.
present.
Now you skipped over the part. So you say you broke up, which means that you were dating more exclusively. When did that happen? And after Culver's, before Culver's?
So it was kind of during Culver's. So like we are like, hey, let's. I kind of like, hey, I'm guessing like I ask people questions. So I'm like, hey, by the way, am I like? I'm like, hey, by the way, you're mine. And she's like, oh,
Oh
okay,
my gosh. Okay.
yeah. She's like, so does that mean
Where would you even bother saying that? You know you know
what's
that's
that?
your mind. No.
So and
No,
she's
but
like,
don't be saying things like that.
so she's like, what do you mean by you're mine? I'm like, well, aren't you? I'm like, well, aren't you with me though? And she's like, yeah. Don't you? I'm like, well, does that mean we're girlfriend and boyfriend? She's like, well, what do you mean by? She's like, can you ask me the proper way? I'm like, holy cow, somebody's high maintenance, aren't we? Huh? I'm like, and she's like, well, it started off as an argument. And she's like, well, I'm not the one that took 2.5 hours to get ready in my hotel room. It took me 30 minutes to get ready. It took you 2.5 hours. And I had to sit in the car in the valet for 2 hours.
For you?
Yeah, it took me 2.5 hours to get ready.
Why weren't you? What are you doing?
Well, okay, you know when you get like in a groove, like you have to make a TikTok and you have to like like hey
Oh, you
guys.
were screwing around and not ready on the time that you said you'd be ready.
Well, I was in the shower and I was like listening to Taylor Swift.
Okay.
so so the, so the,
I feel we're getting deeper and deeper into the reasons why you haven't had a date.
Or why I get ghosted. I think it's because I'm a Swiftie, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's because you've been rude and cheap and are got a refund because she didn't eat her chicken sandwich. I mean, it's just you're going against the grain here, man.
So then, so then what happened is, I'm like, hey, by the way, actually this it was a rocky month, so it was like it was like it was like being on if you ever like have you ever driven during winter and it's like the roads are not plowed yet, so like your car's like rattling the
Oh
whole
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like that for a whole month, and I was like, I don't know.
You shouldn't have stuck that one out. You need to realize that get out earlier. It'll be
So
better for everybody,
well, what happened is
especially these
Christmas.
poor women.
Well, what happened is Christmas started getting around the corner, and I'm like, oh boy, I forgot. I'm like, I have to get her a gift,
Oh,
and I'm like,
so you had to get your cheapness made you jump out.
well, no, I started thinking, I'm like, here's what the problem was. Okay, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what problems that she was. I'm like, okay, she didn't want to go on a road trip with me. She didn't want to answer my 1 o'clock in the morning phone calls.
Well, I don't blame her that.
Okay, she takes way too long to get ready. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I try to come up with excuses. So I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I didn't like her attitude at the Bucks game. Okay, yeah, that'd be
Right?
a
Yeah, you
story.
just talked and talked.
Yeah. So what
Such
happened
a
is,
talky woman. Mm.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah. So I'm like, I took her out to a very high end restaurant in Capital One or Capital Bar. It's in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make a reservation to even get in.
Right.
So yeah. So I'm like, hey, she's like, oh, she's like, does this mean like, like, is this my Christmas gift? Is it like, I had to give her, like, I had to build up to her. And I'm like, hey,
To
rather,
dump her? You took her there to dump her?
well, no, here's what I'm like, hey, I have awesome news for you. Wait till like, I'm like, hey, what's your ring size? What's your,
You're terrible.
no,
You're
I
being
mean,
horrible. You're a horrible person.
so I'm like, hey, what's your ring size? And she's like, oh my gosh, because she was like 27 and I was like, 25. So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay. She's like, oh my gosh, is this like? I'm like, well, I just want to know. So then I asked her dad, and her dad said yes. And then I'm like, sweet. So her dad took me out to a Packer game, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a club seat, and it was like very beautiful, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
we had a great conversation. Well, we reserved dinner. Okay, it was all dressed up. Okay, so I was dressed up. She was dressed up, and
You're not gonna start crying now, are you?
no, no, oh, I'm
Okay.
happy. I'm
Okay,
smiling ear
good.
to ear. Are you gonna cry?
No. I mean, you blew this or something. I'm just making sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So what happened is, okay, I actually purchased a ring. Okay, I went to get like a ring,
I hear it.
and
You're so cheap. You get a refund on a half-eaten chicken sandwich, and then you're actually taking to an expensive restaurant and purchasing a ring.
well, guess how much the ring was?
I don't know. I have no clue. It could have been $10.
No, it was a fake diamond ring for $5.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That is the sauce that I know.
Yeah, and it was plastic.
Oh, great.
So this gets better, okay? So somebody's like, and because on the reservations, like they have to tell you what the reservation's for. Like, is it a date night? Is it like
Oh,
a
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I hate those. It's called Indoors. It's called the Indoors app. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I've never.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
so either
I'm
way,
not taking anybody to any expensive dinners at this point. Come on.
well, you don't have to. You're married.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus,
So
I'm
what
cheap. I'll go to Culver's.
and get a refund.
No, you can half eat your chicken sandwich. I'm fine with that.
So what happened is I put down like, hey, you know what? I put down wedding proposal, like no engagement, so like engaging and stuff, an engagement thing. Okay,
Hmm.
so they pick out a table, and the table's like right in the middle, like kind of everybody, and it was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, hey, I'm like, by the way, you're drop dead gorgeous and stuff, and we built up and stuff. So then, uh, So what happened is I got on my knee and she like started crying. I'm like, by the way, Brenda, this is not going to work out.
Oh, nice. So what? That was just mean.
Yeah. And so then I'm like, and by the way, here's a ring. And then apparently actually broke
Oh,
in my pocket because I put it in my butt pocket, so I actually
oh
broke.
my God.
And so it was so embarrassing because people were looking at us.
Yeah, no kidding. Why would you do that? What's your thinking here?
Well, remember, she talked too much at the Bucks game. Okay.
Oh, come on.
Okay. She ordered a lot of food. Okay.
Yeah, but that's what she wanted. Come
And
on.
well, I brought the Culver's receipt too. So
Here's your ring, and you owe me, $7.95.
and I brought other receipts too. So like I'm always the
Oh
first.
my God. What are you,
And
Andy
then
Warhol or something? Jeez Louise.
huh?
So you Andy Warhol? You know who that is?
Who's that?
Anyway, he's an artist that he kept all his receipts for a number of years.
So what happened is, and then then I gave her my Venmo. And so instead of a ring, I gave her my Venmo.
Oh my God. And you have the nerve to even ask me why you're not getting dates? It's
Okay,
obvious.
that was a mix-up. That was my bad. That was a slip-up.
You should probably find some deaf mute woman who can't see, who just needs somebody to take care of them, and then that would be, yeah, oh great, we go where I want to go, we travel where I want to travel. She's always happy when I'm there because otherwise she can't make it anywhere.
So it was
You ever heard of a movie called Boxing Helena?
Who's that?
It's a movie called Boxing Helena.
I've never heard of that movie.
It's about a guy who keeps an armless, legless woman in his house.
Oh. Please explain on that. What happens?
Well, you have to watch the movie, but let's just say, she's not the happiest with her situation.
Well, are they a happy married couple?
No.
No.
I think she's a prisoner.
Oh. So then what? And I'm like, no.
I think you would probably be more in tune with a movie called Lars and the Real Girl.
What's that?
It's about a guy who has a relationship with a doll that he poses and takes around everywhere and treats her like his real girlfriend.
See, that's just I'm not that kind of a person though. I need somebody to talk to.
But I think you would be happy.
Well, I need like the affection though. Yeah, but she was a bad kisser too, so I have to give her.
Poor Brenda. Poor Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda, you're a bad kisser. I'm like, that's what.
Who's the guy who played Ken in the Barbie movie? What's his name?
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Oh, okay. Anyway, he was in that movie called Lars and the Real Girl. He's the main character.
I mean, that does matter though. If a girl's a bad kisser, that's a perfect way to like that.
If that's important to you, then yes, I guess so.
Well, isn't that a pet peeve though? Like if you expect a girl.
No, I don't care.
No. Well,
not for me.
Okay, I want to tell you. You know what's nuts? She like when we like kiss and stuff, she would like kiss with her eyes open. I'm like, that's psychotic.
Probably she's worried about you picking her pocket or something.
Or putting a receipt.
Got you going on. I mean, who knows what the hell you're doing?
Put a receipt in her pocket.
You're like, yeah, really, you're getting her phone or something,
Yeah. Well, hey, the cool thing is though, and it was not like I was hiding anything. So like I don't have a passcode.
Mm-hmm.
So she would go on my phone and she would like it was as fair, transparent as you can get. Now, I believe having that. I believe that when you're in a relationship, if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, I believe it's good to have that 100% honesty. And
sure. But what if she didn't want to do that? Would that be a deal breaker?
No, it wouldn't be a deal breaker. But I think it's a healthy it's a healthy status.
I would. Here's what I would suggest for you. Take some time over this weekend. Take some time and write down what you really would like in a relationship with whoever, right?
Okay.
So think about it. I mean, real, I'm being honest here. This is a sincere statement here. And write it down. Like, it doesn't matter how long the list is.
Uh-huh.
Come up with a list, however long it is, and then kind of do the old check it once and check it twice, and get rid of things that you're iffy about, and only keep the ones that you really are adamant about.
Mm-hmm.
And then have that with you whenever. Try to make another date, and have that with you. You don't have to be totally honest and say, here's my list of demands, but you keep this with you so that you can check them off. And if they meet those criteria, then that's going to be good for you. Because I think sometimes from what I'm hearing from these stories, there's only been a couple of stories. What I'm hearing though is that you can be a little selfish. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so you need somebody who can tolerate that. And, but, and you're obviously cheap. I mean, if there's nothing you can't say at this point that doesn't tell me you're not cheap. So got to keep that in mind. Right.
I mean, like, I'm sure, didn't your wife pay for your date a couple times?
Yeah, definitely.
But that's you can say that you're cheap then.
Oh, I am. I wholly and fully admit it.
Yeah, I see. That makes it two of us.
But I'm not cheap where I'm going to get a refund on a half-eaten chicken sandwich. I'm cheap in the sense that I'd say, we can't really go to Culver's tonight. Let's go to McDonald's. And I'm trying to be upfront with it because I'm like, this is all I got today, and I'm willing to take you out, but this is it.
How often do you guys go out though?
Here lately, I mean, every once in a while, not very often here lately. So
yeah. Once
you have kids, all your money gets siphoned off. So
I heard about that, and it's no refunds either.
No, there's no refunds. But I'll tell you, if you're going to have kids, don't be mad about that. You should be happy because that's what you wanted. So
yeah. How long so the other question is, do you think a month was too early to ask for marriage though?
Oh yes, way too early. Way too early.
What?
Personally, I was very upfront about this a long time ago. I probably wouldn't be married if it was totally up to me.
Okay. Why?
Even today.
Why is that?
It's not one of those things. I'm not adherent to the conditions. I'm not saying that I'm not, faithful or anything like that. I just don't, the marriage aspect of things to me is more for other people. It's kind of like a funeral, right? The funeral is not for the person who's dead.
It's for the person that's alive.
It's for the people who are alive. A marriage is not for the people who are in it.
So it's like, so it makes an appearance. So anyway, you're actually like not happy.
No, I'm very happy. I'm saying that marriage in and of itself, people make such a big thing about marriage, right? Yeah. Marriage is not for you. If you can't be a good partner, right, and a faithful partner, then marriage is going to be inconsequential. You know what I mean? You're going to do what you're going to do, right? So the marriage is for the insurance companies, it's for the government, it's for the religious people, it's for, other people. It's not for you. If you're going to be in a committed relationship, then you have to be committed, whether you have a piece of paper or go and stand up in front of people or whatever. You have to be committed no matter what. So the marriage aspect of it is not for the people in the marriage. It's for the people outside the marriage. Mm-hmm. And I still believe it. I tell my kids, there's no reason to get married unless that's what you want to do. You get married because, I can't get insurance because my spouse, we're not married. Okay, well then get married because then you can get insurance because that's what dictates getting insurance nowadays. But there's no reason to, as long as you're happy with each other and and good to each other, right? The marriage is inconsequential.
Mhm.
That's why I don't know why everybody makes such a big deal. I know, and I've asked the question to people who are homosexuals, gay. I'm like, why would you want to get married?
Yeah.
Why make a big deal out of it? And they're like, well, we want to be like everybody else. And I'm like, well, everybody else is miserable and being married, so you don't need to do this. But they didn't agree with me. But again,
Yeah.
it has to do with these legal things and these in the eyes of others. And it's really, to me, it's it means very little. I mean, it means very little to the people who are in that relationship. They should be in that relationship regardless of any kind of paperwork.
Hmm. Huh. Well,
So that's
you know
but
what,
that's my opinion. I mean, other people have other opinions. It's fine.
you know what the funny part is? What happens if I met your daughter in person?
Hmm?
What happens? What happens if I met your daughter in person?
If you met my daughter in person,
Yeah.
um, I, that would be fine.
Yeah, that'd be funny if I'm like, hey, you know what? Your daughter comes home like, guess what? I'm dating, and you're like, who
Yeah,
are
I don't think that's going to happen.
you? No, hey,
No.
you'd be surprised.
I think, yeah, I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think that. I have a better chance of winning. I have a better chance of with a lottery ticket.
Probably, yeah.
Uh,
But no, I mean that's my thought. But I think if I have not so much pushing on the aspect of marriage, but I think the point that I'm trying to make is that you need to be. You'll come to a point in a relationship where you're like, I am committed to you, and then they'll be committed to you, and you will do whatever it takes at that point to stay in that relationship.
mm-hmm.
And I don't mean whatever it takes in a negative kind of sense. I mean in a positive sense, right? And then those things that maybe you wrote down won't be so important because you are so committed to the relationship. Um, you know, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I say you just have to get along. It's not. I mean, the funny thing is, the way somebody looks or what have you is just the initial thing to get you together. It's not what holds you together.
Yeah,
You know,
it's your traits and it's your companionship.
right? I told my son this the other night. We were watching something or whatever, and I said, "Here's my piece of advice. Depending on what your thoughts are, I said, good looking is short term. Cute lasts forever. Find a cute person.
A skinny, cute person.
Skinny doesn't matter.
No.
No, no.
Oh.
I mean, chances are, if that's a trait that you like, then it'll be there in
Uh
that
huh.
person that you find. But it doesn't. It's not. No, it's not the end all be all. Anything can happen, Sauce. Right. So here's the sad part about it. Let's project into the future for you. You get in a relationship. You get along really well. Maybe you even get married. 10 years down the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Car accident, quadriplegic, right?
Yeah.
But you're committed. You see what I'm saying? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Does Everything goes out the window on these things, right? Because you're now so in love with this person, it doesn't matter. It's immaterial.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you couldn't do some things, but you have to do it. So then you adapt. It anything can happen, and so that's why you have to go into it, and then kind of with your whole heart, and then you're done, and then you just deal with whatever happens. And if you're lucky, everything goes fine, and you get old together. But somebody's gonna die
Yeah.
eventually. Chances are it's going to be you first because you're a man, but
Yeah.
statistically, but anything can happen. So the you have to Keep all that. You, that's why I say getting along is more important than anything else.
Hmm. So, well, yeah, I can't believe it's already been an hour. Yeah. So, and that's why I'm still single.
Yeah, but not forever.
No.
You're going. The funny thing, here's the funny. Let me tell you this real quick before we go. The funny thing to me is you are, at least from what I know, right, from the little bit that I know, a very responsible individual.
Uh-huh.
Seem to be responsible with your money, right?
Yep.
And you also want to accomplish things because you have echoes of sauce. You do that. You're highly motivated in political circles, and you're trying to get your education. All these are very positive things because you are not just sitting around being drunk all the time or high. And not that there's anything wrong with doing those things, but you can't. You have to have a varied life. You can't just be all in on on one thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's why they call it addiction because you're kind of all in on the one thing. So you have a varied life, and you want to do stuff. I
Well,
mean,
and it's
you're a catch. You're for women. You're a catch. You're not lazy. You're not sitting around waiting for somebody to do something for you. You're doing it yourself.
see, and that's the thing I have a problem with. Like, I do all these fun things,
Hmm.
and then it's somehow I'm still single at the at the end of the, and like my
But
New
that's just part of the journey. You just have to find somebody who either so you may find somebody who doesn't want to do all those things but is okay with you doing them, and then whenever you get back home you do other stuff, and then
yeah.
you run off and do some things and you come back, and you see what I'm saying. You don't
Well,
have to match up perfectly, and it's probably best that you don't.
and stay away from Brenda. Anyone named
Well,
Brenda?
I don't know anything about. I'm sad for Brenda. Gosh,
Why? Well, you're
can't get a full Culver's meal and gets shushed at the game. Oh my god.
uh,
This poor woman, Brenda, you dodged the bullet. He thinks he did, you did. Come on.
sorry, Brenda. So glad we're not together. So, uh,
Any other advice you want, Sauce?
uh, uh, well, well, I have to see. I have to go. It's been a while. Well, it's not been a while, but it's been like I've been ghosted 5 times. So we're gonna see what happens. So
Uh-huh.
I'm running out of options on dating sites.
Well, the other thing you can do, I mean, you're an active church person, right?
Yeah,
Just go to those. There's lots of functions at church you can meet.
but they're old people, like 4 times my
No,
age.
there's young people in it too.
Well, they're either married or have a relationship.
Well, hey, sometimes they fall out too. You just gotta be waiting.
Or you just push for them to fall out.
Well, I mean that would be a little bit mean, but sure, you could.
That'd be bad. That'd be a horrible person.
It would, yeah, would not be necessarily the best person. But if it just happens to happen, then there you go. But they have singles nights and stuff for those, places. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
singles group and stuff.
That, or
So
you can just start drinking, go to the bars.
no, I don't do that. I'm
Yeah,
not.
that's waste of money.
Yeah, and the girl that you pick up is probably gonna be a one night stand anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
Well,
like
or
and
more or worse. Then you really do get gonorrhea. Hmm.
or syphilis
Or worse, yeah.
or HIV.
On that note, we'll wrap it up. Thanks, Sauce. Until next time.
Alrighty, guys, and remember to keep it saucy.
Yeah, well, not too saucy.